This is going to be a quick glimpse at the next entry into the extra software package. One of the each one of these entries is kind of like my take on a solution to a giving a modding problem. It's basically kind of like what this is. And in this particular scenario, the problem that I wanted to solve was where's the file? Like in which mod is the file that I'm looking for? So I actually this particular program here, this is the new edition, and really it is just a simple interface to technically a single search function is really what it does. It does support multiple games. I included in I've included in this package, I've included my Fallout 3 mod database, my Fallout New Vegas, and my Fallout 4 mod database. And what this database contains is as I've downloaded files over the years. Now, these databases are not complete. Eventually, I'll go back in and I will refactor the code to use the 7Z DLL directly in the application. Right now, it has to fire off an instance of 7Z. But you can configure it, again, in the locals, you can configure it to use whichever one you want. I pick 7Z because it opens a lot of formats and it has like a little shell command and an interface. But basically, what this thing does is it's a flat text file. It's a database. It's a flat text file. It has an entry, which is the file name. Now, this is just the file name. There is no relative pathing or even full pathing. It's just a file name. I do believe, no, I think relative pathing is in there as well, now that I think about it. And it will have which mods this file is found in. Now, in the original database structure, I included the full path, but then I had a problem where I'm like, well, what if the files get moved around or I change the data folder structure? It's not going to be able to find these. So I went ahead and removed the path to the files that you see up here. You can see there's no path on it. It's just a file name. And that way it's transportable. So wherever this file goes, and it's a text file. So if somebody else has their database, you can literally just open it with a text editor, grab theirs, copy, paste right in the bottom. And when it loads, it won't reduplicate the keys. So if you have a bunch of duplicated keys in there, it's not going to reduplicate those. So, it'll just kind of, if it's too big, let's say you have like multiple entries that are the same, like let's say multiple
Download
file
managed.
names that are the same, it will literally just only have one entry. But that one entry in this case, as you can see, this is what I was looking for. It does support wildcards. Um, it will show every file that has that file. Okay, so the application reads a flat database. I call it a master list. And a master list is just a flat database. It's a flat database that has a key and then data attached to it. Now, this particular database here, this thing only handles a database with a single data element level. Master list supports embedded levels. Where you could have like first name, the next level would be last name, and like that. Whereas this would just say first name as a complete name, as an example. And, it's just one of the it was the easiest way to code it, plus I don't think I really need a lot of, embedded elements like that. Okay, so that being said, there is a quick and dirty program I wrote quite a few years ago that builds this database up, and it is called let me grab it real quick here. It is basically called build zipped catalog is what this is. So you can actually see here, right here, it's going to be build zip catalog. And it really only takes multiple parameters. If you really wanted to see what the parameters are going to be, let's see if I can find one that doesn't have it here. There we go. So you can actually see the parameters because you can actually do the dash or you can do the backslash if you want to get the parameters that it allows. And it's self-contained. So this is a quick and dirty. So the configuration file is contained within this program. It's actually a resource that's embedded in the program, but if you want to, you can write it out. I believe you just type in dash create configs and it will write the configuration out and then you can modify it. And if that configuration is local, then it's going to use that first. But this is a quick and dirty program. So the code is very messy, very, very simple, and all the routines are self-contained. So this doesn't require any libraries. And you'll be able to tell the difference. I'm gonna when I include this in the package, I'm not gonna change the icon to the newer type of command line icon. It's going to be the old kind of CLI looking icon, and that way you can look at it and say, okay, yeah, this is one of the older kind of applications. Now, eventually, I'm going to update these to use the new libraries, and that way it can take advantage of better coding and more methods. You know, there's more methods available to use. But the only parameters I passed to it was the folder name, which is here. It's just dash F folder name in quotes, and then the catalog that I wanted to use, which is this. So there's only a dash F and a dash C. And then what it does, it will find all of the zipped RAR 7Z files. If you have you have more compression types, you'll need to declare that in the localization in the ini, otherwise it won't recognize it. But it basically just loads that folder up and it retrieves the file names inside that folder. And then those file names now become the key. Those internal file names become the key to that database. That's the key. That's the top level key. And then the name of that archive that file is found in becomes one of the items beneath that key. And once you run this, once you run this across all your files, you build your files up, what you have is a flat database that will tell you where any file is, and wildcards are supported. The way that I set this, the way that this quick and dirty thing is set up, this build zip catalog, the way that's set up, it will remember. It takes a look at the date stamps and it says, what is today's date? What's the date of the database file, the flat database file? And it that and if and it takes the difference, and those are the only files that it will add. If that file's date stamp exists within that difference, that is added, and that keeps from adding the same files over and over again. You can override that with a dash K. There's a dash K command where you can just, it doesn't really have a time. It's just year, month, and day. And you can go back in and you can override this. So, like, let's say for some reason it didn't work, or for some reason you're thinking, okay, somehow I built it wrong, or for whatever reason, you specify the starting date, and from that date forward, it's going to add these into this database, and it's only going to add them once. So, and I mean by the archives. So it only loads that archive file once. And then it moves on to the next one, the zipped archive, the next one. So that's what this program does. So you basically just give it the folder name, and it has your mods in it, all your downloaded mods. You give it the catalog where you want to save this data to, and then it'll say, okay, you've never ran me before, so I'm going to include all the files I can find. The next time around, it's going to go, you ran this 3 days ago, so I'm only going to include the past 3 days files. And it builds that database. And again, it's a text file. So being a flat text file, it's going to get large, but you can actually incorporate that into anything you want. If you wanted to, you could load that into an SQL database. You can just define the data sets and just load it straight in. Okay, so that being said, that's the application to build it. I've included my Fallout 4, Fallout 3, and Fallout Vegas. It's not complete. uh, because I actually archived off some mods before I ran this, but it'll be okay. Because I usually keep like I think I keep like the most recent version, and later on, once I update the build zip catalog, once I update that for the new libraries, I'll go back in and I'm gonna run it against all of them because basically what I'm gonna need to do is I'm gonna have to load that flat file up and then say, okay, do I have this archive in here at all? If not, then let me go ahead and add it. Okay, so we're just gonna do Fallout 4. So I'm gonna fire this off just to so you can kind of see what it does. So we're just gonna, and this is just me compiling it and firing it off. So it's now done, and I'll explain that here in a second. So it's a good sized database, but it instead of me loading the entire master list, the whole thing, which is massive. It's like 540 megabyte text file. Instead of loading that in memory, what I do is I create an index file. That index file is the pointer to the record that I need in the data file. That's kind of like that was my solution. I'm thinking, okay, this thing's getting big. These files are getting too big, taking up too much memory. How can we decrease the footprint? And that's where you're going to see over here where it's going to say rebuild the index, reindex the master list. Now, each game I've got it under a games folder, so every game has its own. You'll be able to see it here. All right, you'll be able to see it right here. Let's back this up to here. So you'll have a games folder, then you're going to have Fallout 4, Fallout 3, and you're going to have New Vegas. And if you look inside here, you'll actually see the databases. So if you wanted to see this, for example, well, that's the indexes. We don't want to do that. Just to kind of take a real quick look, we want to do this. So see, this is the database. There's the file name. There's how many entries it has in the list. So that way it knows that 27 entries this way is what it needs. And then these are all the mods that has this file in it, is basically what that is. That's how that works. And then if you looked at the index file, because you can see this is, let's see, yeah, 441 megabytes. Um, then the index for it, well, this is Fallout 3, so this is really small. Let's go here to Fallout 4. Let's do this, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's see, where are we? Where are we? Okay, see, 473 megabyte file, it's massive. But the index file is only 61 megabytes. So if you look at it, it basically is the file name and where it starts in the file. So it's very simple. That's the file name. That is the byte offset into the file. And then I think there's elements or something, I forget. And that's it. So you can see it has much, much less data. That is an index master list. So you can have a master list, index list. Okay, so there's that. And that's kind of like how the data is structured. So here, back onto this. So this is the interface. It has the same game switching interface. So it's might as well use this. I don't really want to reinvent the wheel. So I'll just kind of use the same structure. Plus, its familiarity. So if we want to go in here and let's say we want to look up unofficial. Okay, now it takes a minute because there's a lot of records. I think it's got like I forget how many millions of records. It's way up there. Like it's way up there. So these are all of the mods I've ever downloaded and actually ran against that build zip catalog, so that way that's the ones that's been built where the file is located. And what this allows me to do is if I know of a plugin or I can't, if somebody says, where's this file? Like I've seen this file, where's it at? Well, if it's built in the database, you can simply look it up. And I went ahead and I included there is an unmanaged folder. Well, there's an unmanaged, I call it quote, quote, unmanaged file. Every game has an unmanaged file, and it's just kind of, it's basically a dump for control values for a game is really what it is. And one of those dumps is all the repositories on your system or local or remote where this file can be. Because if you notice, there's no path. And if you go to like in my case, I just put this in the menu, but you can add your own menu items. It's just a text file. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and open the archive, and as you can see, it found the archive. So otherwise, we wouldn't be able to open it. So there is a method in there that says when you give me a name, I'm going to locate you give me a file name, I'm gonna locate it in multiple repositories or ever how many repositories you specify. So if it can be, let's say, in a Vortex download folder, if it can be in a Mod Organizer 2 folder, you can put that as as an unmanaged repository. And or if you have like if you got a backup, if you got a NAS box or a media server, you can go ahead and add that, and you put them in order of precedence. So it'll always check the most current folder first, and then it will check them in order of precedence until it finds it, and then that's what it returns. And that's how my application works, because that way I can literally say one of these files can be spread across my network. So it can even be in a remote location if you want. But it can be spread across the network. I don't care where it is, but this is the order I want to check it. So if it's local, I want to grab that first. Otherwise, I'm going to check every repository location until I find it. If I can't, I'm just simply going to say it doesn't exist. But I had somebody ask me a little while back where, oh, and it does support wildcards. So I'll show you the main menu. So if we're going to do a main, and I think it's an asterisk here. Asterisk. Oh, no, it's main. Is it? I think it's just main. Let's try this. I think it's main menu Swift. Now, I don't really sort this based on the actual file. It's just going sequentially through the file, trying to locate the files. I may later on, I think what I may do is put the name of the file, because here it doesn't show, and I can clearly see I need another header up here that shows the actual file name, because otherwise you don't know what's in these files unless you look. But as you can see, it does support wildcards. So simple database search, very quick and easy database search to locate files and mods. These are actual the mod names. These are the actual downloaded names as they came off of a site, wherever I downloaded them from. Nexus, and then I think there's ModDB, wherever they came from. Uh, so you can very easily find what you're looking for, and any file that's in there gets indexed. I think that's about it. Like I say, it works for all the others. If you want to go to, let's say, Fallout 3, and it maybe possibly have to see. You may have to re-index it. I might be able to show you this here. Let's see. So if the data comes up garbled or doesn't make any sense, it'll need to be reindexed. See, and then these are Fallout 3 files. So if for some reason the data is scrambled because it's actually looking for offsets into the actual data file. So if the offsets, if the indexing was based on a previous version of that database, it's going to be wrong. So what you do is you just go in here and you just reindex the file. And that's it. Done. It's already done. And now you can actually do whatever searches you want. I did put some options in here to load and search master lists, but I'll save that kind of for later. That's where you can actually load a smaller, if you want to load a smaller, because the memory footprint is the limitation. So you can load a smaller database if you want and search that for just about anything. So that is kind of like for like future, kind of like a future kind of a thing. All right, so that's that application. I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the next one tomorrow. It's gonna be one day, one app. Still waiting for Fallout 4 to. They'll take them a while to get everything updated. That's fine. That gives me some coding time, some development time. So one day, one app. I still haven't I don't wanna burn too much of the week because I do wanna get into that extract code and get that done and get that in there. And then, I'll probably also put the next thing I'll probably do is get the formats for the Skyrim save files, the Elder Scrolls, the ESS files, get that typed into those little text files, and I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. Alrighty, I'm gonna get ready and hop and kind of watch some movies, relax a little bit, and yeah, enjoy the rest of the evening. Hope you guys have a great evening.